Welcome back. Right, we're going to talk about foreign aid. I've been harping on about it for the whole show. We've got some great examples for you. Not necessarily all Labour, but Labour love all this stuff. You know, we've given billions of pounds. I think our current budget is about £10 billion a year we give to foreign countries for often very ludicrous reasons. Well, look, let's get my guest on first, and then we'll chat about it. He's head of campaigns at Popular Conservatism, my friend Andrew Allison. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm very, very well. Now, I want to talk about foreign aid, and I was prompted to get onto this subject because a story dropped into my lap last night on my show, The Political Asylum, 7 to 10, 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, don't miss it. Yes, it emerged that we are, bearing in mind that we're about to get the budget from hell in November. You know, that Robert Reeves is going to tax the backsides of us, going to tax us to hell, you know, break all our promises. Need the money. OK, yeah, what are you going to spend it on? Well, one of the things they're going to spend it on, they're going to send £111 million to Pakistan for condoms. It's called the Accelerating Family Planning in Pakistan scheme. Now, I'm sure that's a very important issue for Pakistan, but what's it got to do with us? Why are we sending them £111 million? I think taxpayers would be furious about this. Going back over the years, I think it's a sort of bit of a sickness in this country. Be kind, you know, the sort of Live Aid, Band-Aid syndrome. We gave £500,000 to China to help teach them how to grow rice. To teach Chinese people how to grow rice. This is my favourite. We gave £12 million to the Ethiopian equivalent of the Spice Girls. They're called the Yegna Girl Band, so they could develop their pop careers. We gave millions of pounds, we don't know the exact amount, to Zimbabwe, so they could install friendship benches for people sitting around and talking to each other, particularly people with mental health issues. I like this one. It's not a massive amount of money until you hear why we gave Bangladesh £133,000. We gave them £133,000 to investigate shrimp health, the health of their shrimps. I have no idea how you establish whether or not a shrimp is healthy or not. Oh, that shrimp looks like it's got a bit of a cold. It's got the flu. £133,000 for that. We gave millions of pounds to Pakistan again to help them give up smoking, anti-smoking lessons. Of course, there were the famous electric Porsches for prisons in Albania. Oh, this is a good one. £5 million to Tanzania for dance and juggling lessons. And on this madness goes. Foreign aid is just insane, isn't it?
Indeed it is. And this is exactly what you get. And this happened, I think, about 8 or 9 years ago when we enshrined in legislation that 0.7% of GDP will go in foreign aid. So the Overseas Development Minister is the only minister that has to go in front of the House of Commons to apologise if they haven't spent all their budget. I mean, just think about that. They have to spend this money. Now, it's being reduced to 0.5%. It's going to eventually be reduced to 0.3% of GDP. But this is just a con. So you've got civil servants wandering around Whitehall looking at how they can spend money. Now, anyone who's worked in the civil service will understand this because it comes towards the end of the financial year. There is a budget there, and civil servants waste millions of pounds buying frivolous things just to make sure that they get exactly the same amount in their budget the following year. Well, overseas aid works in exactly the same way. And there's another thing here as well, Kevin, which is the nationalisation of charity. Charity comes from the Latin word caritas. It means to love. It means for the love of someone or a family or a particular organisation or project that you voluntarily hand over your cash. But no, in this case, the government, on behalf of taxpayers, is handing money to Pakistan to do something that, quite frankly, the Pakistani government should be able to do themselves. But even if they couldn't, if ordinary citizens in the UK wish to make a private voluntary donation to Pakistan to help with this project, that's completely up to them. But I imagine that the vast majority of people don't want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if our economy was going gangbusters, you know, and we were, you know, like swimming in money and everybody was well off, we all had great jobs and nobody was struggling with the cost of living because we were all fabulously wealthy, you know, then, you know, I don't mind the concept of being generous to less privileged, less wealthy countries. I don't mind the idea of, you know, handing some money to countries that are struggling. I don't mind that idea. But we are not. We are in dire straits. The people of this country are in dire straits. We have a government, you know, say, "Oh, really sorry. It looks like we're going to have to break our promise and actually tax you to hell after all." So November's budget will be a budget from hell that will make us even more poorer, and then we discover that amid the money that they need £111 million to give to Pakistan so that Pakistan can buy condoms for its residents, its citizens. Now, this is an equation that is likely to annoy people in this country. And, you know, when you say the Minister for Overseas Development is the only minister who has to go and apologise if he or she hasn't spent enough money, you can imagine the committee sitting there saying, "Oh, so you haven't managed to get up to your £10 billion. Can't you find another country that needs some juggling lessons?" You know, this is deranged. It is
completely deranged, but it's exactly what happens, Kevin. That is exactly how it works. Now, I don't care how awash Britain is with cash. I still want.
Well, we're not, are we?
Well, we know where we're not. But even if we were, I still want taxpayers' money spent properly. And the examples that you have just given there, numerous examples, and there are many more, they are not examples of our taxpayers' money being spent properly. I think the majority of British people would not object if a certain amount of money went to a project, for example, in Africa that provided clean drinking water. But there's plenty of charities who do that anyway. If it's the genuine alleviation of distress, of hunger, of famine, then I don't think most people really have much of a problem with that. But when it comes to sort of funding the Ethiopian equivalent of the Spice Girls or buying condoms in Pakistan, then the vast majority of people are quite rightly annoyed. But they would be annoyed whether we were in good times, which we're not, or in the bad times, which we are in now.
Yeah, and of course the Ethiopian Spice Girls, I'm surprised you don't know their name, the Yegna girl band. The idea, that, well, the reason we gave them money was because it would empower girls via the prism of radio dramas, music, and so on and so forth. But absolute insanity, and infuriating insanity, given that people are struggling, and when the government says it needs money, you know, well, I was going to say fair enough, not really fair enough, but they say they need money. Well, okay, you need money, but you didn't tell us you needed money to give £111 million to Pakistan to pay for condoms in their family planning programme. So,
which Pakistan should be paying for themselves.
Well, that's my point. I mean, I'm not trying to undermine the importance of family planning in Pakistan. I'm sure it is an incredibly crucial issue there, but it is a matter for them, not for us to pay for. Before you go, Andrew, a quick word, if you will. You're from the Popular Conservatives, one of the few remaining Popular Conservatives. No, seriously. What do you make of the result in Wales, in Caerphilly? I mean, seismically bad for Labour, obviously. They've lost that seat, the local seat, for the first time ever. And it's quite clear there's going to be quite a sea change in Welsh politics going forward. But once again, the picture for the Conservatives there, I mean, I know they never do very well in Wales, but it is not good. The Conservatives are not performing well at the ballot box, are they?
No, you can't say that 2% of the popular vote is all that popular, can you? What happened in Caerphilly, it's quite obvious that if you were of a left of centre persuasion, you coalesced around Plaid Cymru because you knew that Labour were going to be in for a drubbing. And if you were of a right-of-centre persuasion, you weren't going to vote Conservative, you were going to go for Reform. And as some people are trying to spin this as a bad night for Reform, I think it was actually a really good night for Reform. They won 36% of the popular vote. That's quite a platform to build on, especially as the left-wing parties made absolutely damn sure that they couldn't be elected. But we look forward, I suppose, to the Senate elections in May next year, where the voting system has changed. If you remember the Hunt system, which we used to use to elect members of the European Parliament, that is going to be used in Wales next year, and the number of assembly members is going to be increased from 60 up to 96. I think it's 16 individual constituencies, all electing 6 members each. Now, that system really is designed to give the left a majority, so it'll be interesting to see what happens next year.
Last thing, it seems the skids are really under Keir Starmer now because of this result, and because we know that the May local elections in Wales, they're going to get wiped out. So the Labour Party is fixing to get rid of Starmer because he is literally like the captain, well, not literally, he's the captain of the Titanic, as it were. So they're fixing to get rid of him. Do you think the Tories will get rid of Kemi Badenoch anytime soon? Because I think they should.
I honestly don't know that. I mean, I thought her speech to the Conservative Party conference was brilliant. It was the most conservative speech I've heard a Conservative leader give, really, since the time of Margaret Thatcher. But of course, words are one thing and deeds are another. But I certainly think that she's bought herself quite a lot of time. But as you've mentioned there, those elections in Wales and in Scotland in particular, but we've also got elections in London as well, are going to be hugely important for both Keir Starmer and for Kemi Badenoch too. If both parties do particularly badly, then I think both leaders are under enormous pressure. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a new leader of the Conservative Party this time next year. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a new leader of the Labour Party, a new Prime Minister this time next year.
I think you're right. I think you're definitely right. Andrew, great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. That's Andrew Allison, Head of Campaigns at Popular Conservatism.